Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff, and joining me this evening, the one, the only Jacob Terrell. We've got a lot to get to tonight. Obviously, there was a match over the weekend. No Earl this evening. Earl is busy, and we had to kick off our show tonight by saying a very happy birthday to Maya.
Yes.
So happy birthday, Maya. I don't know if Earl is letting you listen to us or not, but a very happy birthday to you. Hopefully you convinced Earl and suckered him into buying you all the gifts that you want.
It probably doesn't take much convincing for Earl.
No, probably not. I mean, Earl's probably playing with him too, so.
Fair.
It's been a couple weeks since we've been here together. Jacob was here last week with Christina. Fantastic show. If you haven't heard already, go give it a watch or give it a listen on podcast feeds. The week before, prior to Open Cup week, Jacob was actually in LA. I was here and Earl was otherwise occupied. So unfortunately, I tried to find a secondary host to help us do that show. We ended up not doing one that week. So it's been a minute since we've been together. So that being said, Jacob, how are you? How's the family? How are things?
Oh man, everything's good. Living the dream still. Living the dream. And you just moved?
I did.
Settled in?
I'm in. Settled is another matter. I still have everything is in the new place. I just have to unpack the rest of it.
Gotcha.
So I've got about 6 boxes over there that still have to be unpacked. It's a matter, organizing and finding places for all the things and all that kind of stuff. So but we're here, we're in, we're doing well. Summer break is almost over.
Somehow, yeah.
Good Lord, summer break is almost out of here. Josh, how you doing? Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know about you be back in.
I think most parents are.
I'm ready. And it's funny because they've even pushed back the start of school a little bit this year. So
when do you start?
APS, at least middle school, starts on the 7th. So last year, I believe both my boys started in July.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So both my boys got pushed back by at least a few days this year. So I don't know what it's like out there for you guys, but I know I can't wait.
We start on the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
We start on the 5th. So we start 2 Mondays from 2 Mondays? Yeah, 2 Mondays from yesterday.
Yeah, that's when Logan goes back. His school, because with it being a charter, they go back on the 5th. So I think they're starting on a Monday is interesting. They haven't done that in a while. Because normally the last couple of years has been like a Tuesday or Wednesday. I think there was even one year there's like a Thursday start or some nonsense.
Weird. So ours go back the 5th, or they're the 5th and the 6th, and they're off 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th.
Why?
I don't know.
Got a comment. Melanie says they start back on August 26th. See, August 26th. I mean, so to be fair, she also does teach a summer session, which they're doing right now. So when she's got like another week or two of this left, and then she'll have another 3 weeks off, and then they'll go back at the end of August. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's not August 26th.
When I was in school, I remember it being late.
After Labor Day.
Now, I don't think I ever started that late, but it was always like mid-August, towards the end of August. And then I honestly don't remember when we get out. Sometime in May, right before Memorial Day.
See, to me, that's strange because when I went to school, and granted, obviously it's district, specific.
Yeah.
I started back after Labor Day and got out before Memorial.
Yeah, I knew a lot of places that did do that. I just never did.
Yeah. One thing APS did this year is they actually cut out some of the days off.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. They were so some of those vernal equinox breaks and all that kind of stuff. They cut those down so that vernal equinox or whatever it is, fall break, spring break, all this kind of stuff. So they cut some of the days, and I think they did away with the half day Wednesdays. So APS is actually they're actually in school more days, so they're out a little bit earlier.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so it's still right around Memorial Day for APS and charters, but yeah, APS cut out some of those break days so they get out a little bit sooner. But yeah, no, I mean it's been a busy summer. Kids traveling, we're traveling. I know everyone's been on vacations. You've been out of town, all that kind of stuff. So if you're with us, if you're like us, if you've got kids, I mean, please let us know if you can't wait. Oh, by the way, I want to go back to a few weeks ago. You brought up a burning question, okay?
I did.
About the favorite Reese's, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with friend of the show, Chris Hurst, on Saturday evening.
Okay.
And he said, I was sitting there listening to you guys, and I couldn't help but just like almost like I almost threw up in my mouth, basically. Chocolate, good. Peanut butter, good. Put them together, no. He goes, y'all are weird. So,
what?
That, yeah.
I just ate 2 miniature Reese's right before we started this podcast. And they were from Christmas, and they were still delicious.
There you go. See, that's the thing. As long as you keep them in a cool, dry place, they're fine. So, yeah, I don't know. Peanut butter and chocolate goes perfectly together. So
I think Christian, or our buddy Christian, says it best. Worst take of all time
there you go. Worst take. I agree. But yeah, so like I said, a lot of stuff's going on. By the way, if you're here and you're in the chat, if you're listening, if you're watching, if you know anyone that's interested in buying a twin bunk bed or a queen mattress and bed frame, please let me know. I've been trying to get rid of these things. Yeah, I'll happily give you a friends and family discount just so I can get rid of them because I don't need them anymore. But anyway, that is neither here nor there. We do have a lot of things to get to, obviously, on Saturday night.
Which is why we wasted 8 minutes talking about
exactly
APS.
Oh, I also think beans on toast. Beans on toast. No, that just sounds wrong. Looks bad.
There's a YouTube channel called Jolly. Love that channel, and it's British teenagers or British. There's 2 British guys, Josh and Ollie, that try American food, and they've done it vice versa, where they have Americans try British food.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious episodes. I'd go check them out.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, and there's a Twitter account, Josh from England. Have you seen them? I'm sure you know Josh and Jace. You know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were actually in New Mexico. Yeah, they were here a few weeks ago, and the club tried to get them at the match. Didn't hear back from them, however. But it's interesting to see them come over and try American food and say how much more flavorful it is.
Oh yeah, very bland, very bland over in the UK.
Yeah. English have trash takes on everything, and they think they're right because they have that silly accent. Beans on toast is a sin. Well, Christian, tell you what, we will pose that question to Chris Hurst and Andy Hageman to get their take on that. And we'll let you know what they say. But yeah, I mean, so Saturday night, obviously out of the lab, returned to action after a bit of a break after the Open Cup match against LAFC. Monsoon season finally hit.
I don't know what you mean finally. It's been raining here for 2 months now.
Well, yes, it
finally caught a game.
Yeah, it finally caught a game. I think this is the most rain I've seen since I've lived here.
Yeah, it's been a really wet year.
It has, which is a good thing. I'm not complaining. I think it's great. I think we definitely need it. But yeah, this is the first match that's been hit by it. An hour rain delay, lightning delay, I should say, not rain delay. An hour lightning delay. We were sitting up in the press box, and there were a few of those rolls of thunder that shook the press box on Saturday night.
Nice.
If you didn't see it, by the way, I did put out footage of the tarp coming off of the field Saturday evening over on the 1017 The Team Twitter account, and the tarp monster did claim 2 lives. So if you haven't seen it,
rest in peace.
Go watch that. But no, the match finally gets started, and you watch the way the Birmingham comes out, and they're sitting in a 4-5-1, extremely defensive set, one that proved incredibly difficult for United to break down. And that's something we've talked about in the past. Talked about United coming out and struggling to break down opposing defenses. And this, to me, I felt like every time we pushed up the pitch, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Birmingham dropped back and left a lone striker up around midfield, and that was it. And they just held that low block. And that was one of the things that Coach Quill talked about in the post-match was that, we've got to be patient. We've got to press them. We've got to, push in and find ways to break those lines. Looking back at it, do you think that was the factor that undid us on Saturday, or was there something else?
I think, at the end of the day, it was that. But I feel like we could have had our passes been a little more crisp. We looked a little rusty, just a smidge. Like I didn't see quite the energy and crispness that we've kind of grown to expect. Hey, Christina, we were just talking about you before the show.
We were.
We will talk to you after the show as well. And so I think we would have had a few better chances to get through that super low tight block if we were kind of on our A game. I don't think the A game was quite there. I saw where Quill had basically said that the effort and stuff was what he wanted and what was at the level that he wanted. I didn't see that necessarily. I saw a little bit of sloppiness and a little bit of just not quite the energy that we've seen from them before. And so it was tough. It wasn't the best match front to back. The second half we did look a lot better. But yeah, it was definitely tough to break that down.
Yeah, and one of the things especially that I watched for on Saturday, and Christian brings this up in the chat here, Birmingham low block to counterattack was tough. They peppered Alex with shots. So to that, if you watched what Birmingham was doing early on, they really only had a presence on the outside. Anytime that ball went into the middle, they immediately tried to filter it back out to the outside because they had no presence whatsoever, no threat from the middle. And you could see the pace that they have, and you could see them trying to play it over the top, play long, try to get in those channels out wide. And I felt like we did a pretty good job of handling that. And I do agree with you. I think there was effort there. I think there was plenty of effort. I don't think it was that we came in unprepared. I don't think it was that we weren't pushing or anything like that. But you bring up the rust factor. You have a week off prior to the Open Cup, right? You come off the Open Cup, you've got a week and a half off. Okay, well, off, so to speak. Obviously, the club's still training and doing things throughout that week, but you look at that, and did that play a factor? Do you think that it would have been better if we kept at least that Sacramento match in there?
No, I think I think it was the break from LAFC to now, which would have still been there even if Sac wasn't there. It just that time off after, I think, especially, you watched last week, you saw the videos that the club posted about the LAFC trip. I think the players were pretty hyped up for that trip and that match. And then to lose that match, come off of that high of being there with all the fans that traveled and everything like that. And then I know for a fact that they had at least till Monday off completely. We saw Hurst and Santi and Bruce. I don't know if you did, but they were all together in California somewhere, I believe, for a few days. And so that's all. It's always needed. And I think for the long run, it's going to be very beneficial. But for this particular match, I do think it affected us a little bit, just not being in the same rhythm that we had been. And then maybe not quite having the same amount of energy, just not knowing exactly to expect. I don't know exactly what it was, but definitely wasn't our best showing. And I do think that the rest factor contributed to that a little bit.
What's going on, Alex? Welcome in. Yeah, I think so too. And then when you have guys out there like Sergio, who got the start, who we know has been struggling this season, and Sergio, and I talked to Sergio about it after the match. I said, talk to us. I said, talk to me a little bit about your struggles this year and how it feels to finally get off the mark. Well, not for the get a second goal in what feels like it's been forever. And he said, he owned up to it. He said, yeah, it's been a very tough year. He goes, I've been dealing with injuries all year long. I haven't really felt myself, and that, it's more about the team performance and him being able to contribute than him picking up the goal. He did also say that he wished he had that one attempt back, the one before he scored the goal, and he would have done it differently. But yeah, I mean, he says straight up, it's important to be out there and give the effort and be able to contribute and do the things. And you see that from all of the guys. I mean, they're putting in the effort, they're contributing. And I do agree that, they did come out a little bit slow. Now, we dominated possession throughout this match. But so let me ask you this, because based off that, there was a question on social media. Was Birmingham hungrier than we were for goals in this one?
I think so. I think given their position in the table, their run of form recently, the loss to Rhode Island on Wednesday right before they came here, they were way more desperate. They had way more to fight for, in my opinion. Now we've heard Quill talk about home matches and wanting to give the fans their money's worth there and everything like that. And to be fair, I think Harry, shout out Harry. I think that this was an entertaining match still, on both sides. I mean, we just saw a minute ago, Astorga get free and the keeper just barely get enough of it to pop it up and make sure it doesn't go in. There's going to be a highlight here soon that Tambakis makes, he just made a hell of a save there. But he basically saves the point in the 93rd minute with a 1-on-1 save against former United player Preston Tabor Ataka. There were a ton of chances in this match. I mean, they had 8 shots on goal, and I think we had 4. We had 4 and they had 8. So 12 shots on goal. A lot of them were like solid opportunities that just missed to the back of the net. And so still an entertaining game. I know they want to fight for those home 3 points at home every time, but Birmingham just looked like they needed it just a little bit more. And they were offside. This game very easily could have been like 3-3 or 4-3 or maybe even 5-3 either way, if some stuff doesn't go quite the way it did. I mean, I think they had 2 find the back of the net that were called for offside. I know they had one for sure. I think they had a second one, or they at least had a second one that was very promising that they maybe not put in the back of the net, but almost did.
Yeah. Yeah, and you talk about the offside calls, the things that really hampered Birmingham and what they're trying to do on Saturday. Preston had like 6 of those. And it's kind of funny watching him from the opposing team perspective again after seeing him with us and be like, oh yeah, he did that same shit with us. Like he just sat there and was just constantly offside. And it almost feels like, and this was a conversation I was having with David Weesey Carl up in the box. It feels like Birmingham is kind of morphed around that. And you saw it on both sides with how far up their wings were playing and how much they were drifting offside. And yeah, it's just, credit to them for what they did and how they tried to break down United. And I felt like for the most part, our defense was fairly solid. Yes, we did give up a whole bunch of attempts, a whole bunch of shots. I think it was 20 shots on the entire night for Legion. Hey, how you doing? Welcome on in. But no, I mean, it's one of those nights, and I want to bring this moment up in particular when you're back, talking about the Birmingham goal here. So off the corner, and now I saw some hate for Alex on this one too. Okay. So corner comes in, and watch what happens here in the goal. It's hard to see it from this angle, but Alex takes a shove right in front of the goal as that ball is being headed in. And I saw some people were upset about the fact that Alex picked up a yellow card here, and they said that they were tired of his childish behavior and his childish antics, and does nothing to help the team. But in this instance, I mean, when you see Alex take a push there and get him out of position, like I can't help but think. I mean, Alex is well within his rights to be upset.
I gotta say, Seth, I didn't see a push there.
No, from these angles, it's terrible. From these angles, it's absolutely terrible. When you get that more overhead shot, looking down, you can, like, if you go back and watch the match live, if you watch the replay and watch it, you'll see. And hang on, let me make sure I have his name correct here. One of the defenders for Legion. Here's that save you're talking about.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, absolutely huge moment there for Alex, who, by the way, keeps extending his career regular season saves record. Kavita's got his back to Alex, and he pushes back with his left arm, and he gets a push on Alex. And if you go back and you watch it, he's getting pushed back right as that ball is getting headed in on goal. So I can understand Alex being heated in that moment. I can absolutely understand that. And yeah, Alex is always heated. He scored on. And I'd rather that than he's like, whatever. You know, I don't have a problem with it. Do you think there's anything wrong with how he reacted in that moment?
No, he's that's him. He's like that all the time. Mm-hmm. And like Christina said, I'd rather him be heated than indifferent. I know that there's a few people in the United Nations that are less than happy with him and the antics there, but I don't know. I don't understand why. I have yet to see a keeper that doesn't get mad when things don't go their way. So I'm not sure why they're mad there.
Yeah, it's the thing. And one of the guys over on Reddit was saying that he would have given Alex a red card. I'm like, no, unless it is obscene and vulgar language, or like, you know, homophobic or whatever. Like there's, by the laws of the game, that is a yellow card for dissent. Yeah, exactly. That's the one. Thank you. I'm glad you saw that, Christina. I'm glad someone else saw that. So, I mean, yeah, it's not the same thing as yelling at a coworker. And by the way, Christina, if you don't know who I am on Reddit, you should know by now. Probably figure out for what I'm saying, because I engage with a few of these folks over on Reddit. But I mean, yeah, and to Josh here, it maybe was a shove, maybe wasn't, but the Birmingham player was absolutely impeding his ability to get to the ball. Okay, I mean, there that in itself, impeding, you know, potentially a cautionable offense. In my opinion, as a referee, it should have been a foul, should have been an indirect coming out. That's my opinion. But I mean, obviously, in match ended in a 1-1. Alex stood on his head with 7 saves. The Birmingham keeper had some very good saves himself. Spangenberg was in for the injured Van Oekel, I believe.
I don't think Van Oekel's injured. I think they're just rotating because Van Oekel was on the bench. Yeah, he was on the bench. But see, we've done that too, though. We've put Alex on the bench when he was hurt. Yeah, but I think if you looked at their minutes, it's definitely not all Van Oekel like you would expect.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about up in the press box, trying to figure out what had happened there. When there was some speculation that Van Oekel was actually hurt. So, and I absolutely agree, Christian. I absolutely agree. Alex overshakes. But to that point, was the draw a fair result?
At the end of the day, there's a lot of ways where I'm like, man, we're lucky to get out of there with a point. And then there was a lot of ways where it's like, man, we were unlucky not to get out of there with 3 points. So I think when you have that kind of could have gone either way, then I think the draw is probably the only result that is really fair. Because if we'd end up losing, man, we would have looked at a few chances like Astorga's and some other stuff and be upset. And then if we would end up winning, then they would have looked at Tabor and the offside calls and they'd have been upset. So yeah, I think a draw is a pretty fair result, as much as I would have liked 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you want to keep the perfection at home. We're no longer perfect at home. We are still undefeated at home. So there's a positive from the night. Obviously, you want that win. We had opportunities, and we didn't make the most of them. And that was something else that Coach Cole talked about after the match as well. Taking advantage of those moments and putting the ball in the back of the net. So that's something we'd still need to be better at. We've done better at it in the past. And so, I mean, and Birmingham, to their credit, they put a lot of shots on frame. I mean, you forced 7 saves out of any keeper. And I think it's fair, but I do think if Birmingham had scored a second, I would not have been surprised.
Yeah. With
how they played, especially with that break that Preston had there at the end. Just a massive effort by Alex to keep the scoreline where it was at. Letdowns of the night. I mean, obviously dropping 2 points, massive letdown. Okay. For me, play on the pitch. It's not necessarily the play of any particular person. It's the injury to Chris Gloucester. Chris obviously took 2 nasty tackles, or one really nasty tackle, which I thought really probably should have been a red card. I know they didn't show it on the replay package here, but I thought it was a really bad tackle from behind. I think you're looking at a potential red card there from other referees. And he went down. I said this in the box. I was amazed they let him stay on the pitch because he got treatment.
Yeah,
I was like he's supposed to go off. He just got treatment, but they let him stay on. And then obviously a couple minutes later he goes down again and can't continue. He was on crutches after the match. We don't have an update on him yet. Hopefully we'll hear something in the press conference this week. But honestly, I mean, you've got the loss of Gloucester. And then, just the finishing. The finishing has to be better than what it was on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little blasphemous here and say Quill. Quill was a little bit of a letdown. I thought several of those subs, Brucey in particular. I mean, Hurst looked gassed after probably like the 65th minute. I would have liked to have seen a switch there, because even when Bruce did come in pretty late, he didn't even come in for Hurst.
That surprised me.
And so I think the sub pattern, which, I mean, up until this point, we're 17 games in. I think in every match that has been close enough to matter, other than like the Tampa Bay and the Charleston matches, he's pretty much nailed the substitution pattern. And I think he just kind of missed it a little bit today. But I don't think that's a future problem. I think that was just an issue today or Saturday, and that was about it. Nobody on the pitch looked stuck out as being bad. I think.
What's going on, Robert?
I think there were a few players that stuck out a little bit better than others. Hosu, Tambakis, and Rivas, I think, honestly had a really good match. And that's not just because he scored. I just felt like he was finding himself a little bit more and feeling a little bit better about how he's been playing. And so, but no, letdown wise, I think Quill with subs a little bit, and then everything else was, I thought just kind of down to a little bit of bad luck and a little bit of rusty legs.
So to Josh's point here, the lineup. I was talking to David Weesey Carl in the press box. This is the first time that we have run this formation since Troy. So I don't know why the shifts. I don't know why we changed it up. I mean, obviously Quill expected Birmingham to come in and be defensive and sit in that low block, and that, again, something he talked about in the presser. They expected them to do that, and so that's something that they have to work on, something they have to figure out, and how to get around that. So, on the flip side of that coin, what was your bright spot tonight? Holy shit!
Is that? Oh, it's Earl's music. Dun 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 dun. How nice of you to join us, Earl. Oh,
we can't hear you.
The technical difficulties have already started.
Can you hear me now?
There you are.
There we go.
Oh, that's so much better. Thanks for that line for me, by the way.
You're welcome. Fuck you. I'm just kidding. No, so Hosu, Tambakis, and Rivas. Tambakis, in my opinion, one of his best games as far as being like clutch and saving a couple of second half chances. I mean, we saw the two in the thing, the diving save off the header from across, and then the one-on-one save with Preston. I mean, just came up big, got us the 3 points and or 1 point. I mean, and so yeah, I'd say Tambakis is probably the 1A for me. He did get bench team of the week.
Earl, play the music. You know you want to.
I'm trying, but it's not working for me.
What is working
Here,
for
I got
you?
you. Fucking nothing.
While we're here, while we've got this interlude, did Maya hear the beginning of the show?
She did not.
Okay. Well, you'll have to play it for her.
I'll have to play it for tomorrow. My phone just died, so.
Oh, well, never mind then.
You're just a disaster right now.
You're not lying there.
Just all over the place. All right. Well, welcome, Earl. Welcome. Glad you can make it.
So I mean, yeah, so that's the match on Saturday, and
Creator and founder of Earl Math.
A letdown that Christina brought up. And this is something that, I mean, I hate having to address this on the show, but there were some incidents Saturday night. First of all, in the first half, in case you don't know, if you're watching at home or listening on the radio, this, as far as I know, it wasn't on 101.7 The Team. I know it was not on the TV broadcast.
They didn't show it on the broadcast. They did mention it.
There was a pitch invader in the first half that managed to make it all the way down out of 125 out onto the pitch near the top of the circle when Alex was standing out there as we were playing at the south end of the pitch. And this individual ran all the way out, took some selfies with Alex, and made it all the way back out and up the steps before security could get to it. I was in the press box when this happened. I saw it immediately. Club officials were immediately trying to get security in action and to stop play because of the fact that there's an invader on the pitch. I have a bone to pick with the referees in this situation because they did not stop play. I have a bone to pick with security because security didn't even get there until after the individual had already gone up the steps. And so this is a massive problem. The fact that someone was able to make it all the way out to Alex, had enough time to stand there, take selfies, and then run off before security even responded. This is a massive failure on the Isotopes, on VetSec, on the security, because none of that is United personnel. None of that is United employees. That is all Isotopes.
I'm pretty sure VetSec's not Isotopes.
No, I think they're hired.
Yeah, I'm pretty
by
sure
Isotopes for additional security. I don't think it's a club. I don't think it's a club though. I don't think so. We can try to find out, but this was inexcusable. Like fortunately, the times that we've seen this, here tonight and with others, we've seen it, with people running up to Ronaldo and things like that. Like, where is the security at? What if that person had run? I've seen it where someone's run up and hit a player. Like, it's happened. Like, I don't understand. Number one, why as a fan do you think this is necessary? Why do you think it's necessary to do that? And like Christina says, our players are always available after the match for pictures and autographs and all of that stuff. Hugs, high fives, whatever you want. Now, I saw some people complaining on social media, blaming it on alcohol sales during the delay. Now, from what you and I were talking about prior to the show, everything that I could see from the press box vantage point on the first base side that was open air was shut down during the lightning delay. I can't speak to the third base line. I can't speak to under the concourse.
Well, I've been there for rain delays. Not everything shuts down.
Yeah,
I can guarantee you there was still alcohol sales happening during the delay. In probably the majority of the things down there below on the concourse below the stands.
Yeah. So Josh, to that, like I said, security didn't even respond until after he had until he had actually gotten back off the pitch. Because like I said, I was in the box with the club officials and they were like yelling in their microphones, get security, pitch, streaker, whatever. They were trying to get security in motion. They were trying to get the match stopped. Like, yeah, I don't get it. And then you get reports, and we're sitting against the press box. We hear a particular chant coming out of supporters again. Like, guys, why? Number one, why? Number two, it is not okay for you to then get mad at the capo for trying to corral that behavior. The club, the team, the supporters, no one approves of that chant.
Good night, Christian. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, they're good. Why? What is the point in continuing to do this? You've now gotten yourself trespassed from the stadium. Both of these individuals have. Like, what is the point in this? This is embarrassing as fans of this club. No one should be behaving in this manner.
Seth, can you control everybody?
No.
That's why I don't care. People do dumb shit. We try our best to fix it, but not everybody's going to listen. Not everybody's going to do what they're supposed to do. And so it's embarrassing. Not as embarrassing as throwing beer at Eric Williamson in year one, and cups and water bottles. But for the most part, if you look at our club culture as a whole, we have had way less incidences than others around the league. It's also really hard to have a pitch invader when you don't have fans, like El Paso and some others. And so inevitably when you get 10,000 people in a certain spot for 17 times out of the year, there's going to be some bad apples. I think tonight or Saturday night with the rain delay and coming back from break, it being right smack dab in the middle of summer. Just a weird night. Like Christina said earlier, just kind of a strange night. It hasn't been an issue to my knowledge. I haven't heard it in the other matches that I've been there for. We haven't had pitch invaders the other matches that I've been there for. So I think I just chalk it up to man, remember that weird ass night against Birmingham? And then we move on. And if it continues to be an issue, then yeah, I'll maybe think differently. But after one match during a rain delay, and one of which that there was a rain delay, it just kind of is what it is. And I can guarantee you, like Harry said, there'll be changes going forward for several things. And so the problem with, go ahead.
I'll say, Josh, if you'd love to reach out to us to talk about that, we'd love to talk to you.
And actually, Josh, I feel the same sentiment as what you just said. I've actually called him out in person or on social media about it, and I got the status quo of we're not going to change. So it's kind of talking to a doornail at this point because they're going to do what they want and they're not going to change. But if you want to send us a message on what your experience was, we're more than excited to entertain it for sure.
So I can say from a source that there were plans to file a complaint with the ISC about the curse this year, from a source of ours, because of some of their action or inaction. So yeah, we'd love to, if folks have information, we would love to talk to you guys about it. So yes, they can. What they'll do, what they did, especially with the pitch invader, they trespassed him. He was arrested and sent to jail. And they have banned him permanently from the stadium. So
yeah, because they didn't catch him when he was on the pitch, but they did catch him eventually.
Yeah, they caught him on the concourse.
We weren't clear about that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, they just didn't. He made it onto the pitch and back off before him up the steps into the concourse before they caught him. So yeah, no, they did trespass him, and he did go to jail. I can tell you that for a fact. But I mean, Jake, you mentioned 17 matches without incident until now. Halfway point of the season, literally halfway point. Finally, in our matches, we're on pace, according to Not Earl Math, to hit 70 points this season.
To real math.
According to real math, we're on pace for 70 points. I mean, right now, we're sitting on 11 wins. Our season record for the club is 13 in any given season. That's the most wins we've ever had. We're already 2 wins away from tying that. Do you think we get 70? And why?
I'm gonna let Earl answer first because he is late and hasn't said much. So I'm gonna give him the floor.
Do I think we get 70? I would love to think so, but unfortunately, we've seen it happen before where at the end of the season, we start picking up injuries upon injuries upon injuries, which we've had in the early part of the season. But we saw it last season. We saw it season before with Bees, where maybe it was last season with Bees, where he didn't finish the season, and we had Seth telling us every week, very soon, very soon.
Because that's away. What we were being told.
So as a fan, I would love to say we get to 70. I would love to say we finish in first, which is above what any of us had on our preseason predictions. But unfortunately, I do think we falter a little bit just because the injury bug hits us. And the compact schedule that we have now at the end of the season. I mean, we're 4 games in hand, but we're still sitting in first, which means our second half of the season is going to be super jam-packed, which I kind of don't like just because of fatigue and possibility for injury. But like I said, I would love to see us get to 70. I don't think we hit the 70 mark, just because of the inevitable.
Okay.
What do you think, Seth?
See, it's hard because as you can see here, here's our preseason predictions compared to where we're at now. Okay. I do think why. So let's take a look real quick at the schedule. Earl talked about how busy the schedule is between here and the end of the season. So obviously we've got this week, and then we have Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, right? El Paso. You've got Las Vegas, Lou City. Okay. We really don't have really not traveling that far. 3.5, 4 hours. Okay. And then we go to Indy. Okay. So right here, this is the week that concerns me. Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. That's the week that concerns me. Now, if we had another Wednesday match in between these two right here, between Lou City and Indy, I'd absolutely agree. But from there on out, everything, you got one more midweek down here in September, then one more down in October. So it's not as terribly compact as I think, as I think Earl is seeing it as. But you look at who we still have to face and how they're playing right now. Like Oakland is playing really well right now. We've talked about Oakland in the past. We've talked about how well Sacramento's been doing. Las Vegas, Jacob, I think that they haven't lost the match since what, May?
Yeah, the end of May.
Since May. So like, there's clubs that are playing really well right now. Okay, that I think we might run into some speed bumps with. Now, to be fair, most of our matches are at home from here on out. So I don't think we quite hit 70. I think we end up like the 56, 64 range, somewhere in there.
56 is crazy, bro. That's crazy low.
Yeah, I think we hit mid 60s, maybe 67, 68. Mid to high 60s where I think we finish.
I mean, I think 56 is very low end, and like Earl's talking about all these injuries, but you're still going to say we're going to get mid to upper mid 60s. Like, if we get hit with that injury bug, I mean, I think it could potentially drop. But I think 56 is still going to be a massive number, but I think that's on the very low end.
56 is a low number. It's not a massive number at all. Like that means 21 points the rest of the way. That's insanely low to me. Fine, I'll do it, guys. I'll do it. I say we get over 70. It's the deepest team we've had in New Mexico United history. The schedule, when I look at it, it doesn't scare me. We have the Indy match, the Oakland match, and probably one of the Sacramento matches, probably the one in Sacramento, that I would be like shocked. Maybe I would be surprised if we get 3 points. Everything else I think is a totally winnable match, especially with the home schedule that we have.
Even against Lou City?
Lou City, I mean, Rhode Island, who is a solid team, yes, went to Lou City and thumped them 5-2. They're not invincible. They're good, don't get me wrong, but they're not invincible. And we get them at home. And so I won't say I expect to get 3 points out of it, but if we get 3 points, I will not be surprised. We will have handled business. If we go to Indy and get 3 points, I'd be surprised. If we go to Oakland and get 3 points, I'd be surprised. If we go to Sacramento and get 3 points, I'd be surprised. Everything else on this schedule, if we end up walking away with 3 points, with the way this season has gone, that's probably how it should be. That's a little harsh, but maybe not should be. But that we're probably going to be the favorite in most of the matches from here on out with the way the season has gone. You look at the season so far. Our two major losses have been East Coast. I just said Indy and Detroit City are the only far Eastern Conference teams that we have to play on the road from here on out. If we come away with 0 points from either of those, whoop-de-doo. We did that already in the first half with 2 East Coast games. If you look at the standings, and we talked about it, me and Christina talked about it last week for sure, and I feel like we've talked about it as well. There is not a consistent team in the West. There is nobody that is super consistent other than us. And I think
Know what it is?
if you want to argue that we aren't consistent, I would say, well, how does two big road losses is the only real blemishes on our record. Everything else, like Monterey Bay, we probably should have got a victory at. Memphis definitely probably could have had a victory there. And so we've been in every match except for those two. We have more home matches, which we've been lights out at home, even if you don't take into account this Birmingham, or even if you take into account this Birmingham match. I mean, we've still been lights out at home. I don't see how I think we should at least double our points. And I don't think we're going to contend for like 78 like Phoenix did in 2019 or even 72 like Lou City did last year, or 77, sorry, like San Antonio did last year, but or 2 years ago, I guess that was. But we should be in the 70s, in my opinion.
Well, speaking of Phoenix diving, while we're at this, I want to bring to your attention, Jacob, I'm sure you saw this. Earl, you probably haven't. But at least our club supports us.
Oh, yeah. They're a disaster over there.
Yeah, Phoenix is just an absolute disaster. And, when you look at, and Jacob, you had it on the notes, who misses the playoffs in the West? We've only just hit the halfway point. We still have 2 to 3 matches in hand against pretty much everybody in the Western Conference. Looking at where our predictions were preseason to where we're at now, who misses the playoff line? And has El Paso already been mathematically eliminated?
Hold on, real quick. Harry, I'm upset. I'm upset because I don't know why AJ thinks that. And I would love to hear reasoning as to why he thinks that, because I feel like I made sense. Maybe I didn't. I don't know, but I feel like I made sense. Who misses? I don't know, man. I think what's right there is pretty close to what I'm thinking is going to happen.
I mean, I don't think you're far off. Like, I don't think Las Vegas is sustainable. I think they slip a bit. Do they slip out of playoff contention? I don't know. That's the one that I would be concerned about.
Vegas reminds me of El Paso last year.
Mm-hmm.
Started off bad, had a nice little stretch, and then I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of hit a roadblock, like you said. If they fall out, because I think El Paso, if I remember right, last year El Paso's run put them way above the playoff run, and then they faltered all the way back down to like 6th or 7th, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas is, I mean, they've had a really good run. Like I said, they haven't lost for 2 months basically, but they're still only 3 points clear of the playoff line. And so they very well could fall out. I think Tulsa has a chance to move up. I like what I see from Tulsa half the time. They're just wildly inconsistent like everybody else in the West. And so I think Tulsa and Phoenix have a chance to move up. If I had to pick 2 that move down, it'd probably be Las Vegas and Monterey Bay.
Yeah, Harry, I just don't know about you guys. I don't know. Like I think you guys have the ability to. I think there's a possibility you guys squeak back out, but it's gonna be tough for you guys to manage that. Vegas, I just, like I said, it's a matter of consistency. If they can, I mean, they picked up a lot of draws in this period too. So, I mean, I think they slip. I think they barely make it in. For me, it's El Paso, Tulsa, Rising, and a toss up between like Lights, San Antonio, and Orange County. So I just don't know.
You have Tulsa and Phoenix, or you have Phoenix and Tulsa with a worse chance of making the playoffs than San Antonio right now? Is that just because Harry and Robert are in the chat? Or is that really how you feel?
No, I really do feel it. I really feel like San Antonio has, for the most part, the pieces. I think San Antonio needs a legitimate striker. I think they need to shore up the midfield a little bit. And they're right there. So, because I mean, we talked about it with Harry. Look at all the pieces they sold off in the offseason. Or let go in the offseason. So
See, and I don't like it because I mean, anyone 2 through 11. Let's go 3 through 11. Let's be a little bit gracious here. So 3 through 11. I mean, any of those ones can fall off. We've seen how much of a dogfight that 2 spot is between Sacramento and Oakland, to where it's anyone's game at that point. Phoenix kind of sucks, and then they don't suck, and then they do, and then they don't. So I mean, like I said, any of those 3 through 11 spots can fall off or squeak in. I don't think El Paso stands a chance. I don't think they're mathematically eliminated just yet, but I don't think they have a God's given chance to even look at playoffs.
Probably not. I mean, you look at their form recently, 4 losses out of 5, 2 goals in 5 matches, and they've been outscored by a lot.
If they win every match from here on out, they still only get to 57 points. I mean, which would put them comfortably in the playoffs, but they would have to win literally 15 matches in a row to get to that number. Last year, I had it up earlier. Hold on. Last year it took 46 to get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, my math's not mathing. I must be working with that Earl math. So they have 15 matches left. Oh, that's why. 46 minus 12 divided by 15. They would need to average 2.26 points per match to get to that 46 number. It's just not going to happen. It's just not.
I'll let Josh know. Earl was not, is not wrong at this point. It's, again, this is before we had seen anything. We didn't see any preseason action for the most part. And so we were just going based off of what we knew about the players who were coming and going on all these teams. And I mean, obviously El Paso historically has been fairly competitive. So Las Vegas just got 2 loans from MLS, and yeah, it's absolutely a different ownership group. I mean, Joey Bats and that group they're doing the right things. They've done away with the nonsense. They're trying to put on a good product. They're trying to put out a quality team. So it just depends. Do I think the run is sustainable? No. Do I think they remain competitive? Yeah. So I just don't know how much I see them. See them as being more likely to slip than to go up the table. So
I would like to shout out Harry for just nailing his top 2 picks there. I mean, just Phoenix and El Paso, or Phoenix and San Antonio 1-2. I mean, you nailed that, Harry. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, we looking at what we picked to where we're at now. Yeah. I mean, we all had Sac fairly high. We can all agree with that. United up in the playoff spots were there. Switchbacks all above the playoff line. Okay. Earl had Memphis, the only one having Memphis in the playoff line. So that's, spot on there so far. I'm still not convinced about Memphis though, but we'll see. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this compares at the end of the season.
So who are you convinced on in the West?
Us, Sacramento.
I'm not even convinced on Sacramento.
Yeah.
Like they'll make the playoffs. I can guarantee you they will make the playoffs. But from like a title first, like to contend with first place, I don't know who's going to do it. I don't know. I'm sure somebody will make a run and make a liar out of him or make me look stupid, but there's just Sacramento's been 2 up and down. Oakland's been 2 up and down. Memphis is Memphis. Springs is, I mean, it's just, everybody is, I don't know. It's just weird.
We did laugh at some of Earl's picks. We also laughed at some of the Eastern Conference picks as well. So here's where we're at currently. Yeah.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you.
I don't know. USL is pretty high on SAC. If you go over to the USL Championship homepage right now, why Sacramento is feeling at home on the road this season. There you go.
I mean, that's just a
USL.
story. That's nothing.
Nick Murray is high on Sacramento, so but we do have a little bit more to get to before we get out of here.
That's because
section.
That's because Nick Murray probably wrote this article at the Sacramento game.
Now, to be fair, Nick Murray is the only person that writes content for the USL Championship website, so he can't be negative about everybody. You think the West is down? Do you, Harry, could it be that the West, it's not so much as down, more along the lines of almost a changing of the guard almost? And same thing for you guys. Do you think the West is down this year?
I think it's down. I think when you have consistent top teams like Sacramento, San Antonio, and Phoenix in their current positions, even though, I mean, Sacramento is too, but I know they've had injuries, but they look a little off. Phoenix has been, I mean, if El Paso isn't as bad as they've been this year, then you're looking at Phoenix and San Antonio and probably freaking out at how bad they've been. So because they've not been great. They've not been even good, I would say. And so when you have three teams with Sac, Phoenix, and San Antonio that are almost always going to be contending for the top, or have been since we joined the league in 2019, when they're down, it's just going to be down. I can't say that it's passing the torch or changing the guard because nobody's taken over other than us. There's nobody else on the list that's like, oh, Phoenix and San Antonio are down, but Memphis and Oakland are all of a sudden like top 3 or 4 teams in the league. That's not the case. So I think the West is just down.
I don't think it's down. I think the competition has just gotten better, is what it is. I mean, but you consider like last season where we had Phoenix contending. We had all the teams that you named. I mean, insert team name is contending. But at the end of it, no one in the West is running away with anything. I mean, even the first place, even though we're 3 games in hand or whatever the hell it was, we're still not running away with it.
Oh,
Now,
head to head versus East is terrible.
If we win those games in hand, those matches in hand, then we can definitely pick up some steam on it. But I don't see that happening with number 2 and number 3 not keeping pace.
Yeah, Harry, head to head against the East was terrible. I was looking at it the other day. I don't want to go back and compare how it was to how it was last year, but yeah, head to head against the East.
I kept track of it last year. The West won the head-to-head battle last year.
Okay.
It wasn't by a lot, but we did win the head-to-head battle. And it is atrocious this year.
Yeah, it is very, very bad. Speaking of El Paso, we've already seen a couple coaching changes this year. Why is Wilmer Cabrera not on the hot seat?
Because he just came in.
Doesn't matter. Why is he not on the hot seat?
Because he just came in.
Doesn't matter. Why is he not on the hot seat?
Because here's why. Because it's an atrocious El Paso team who have essentially decided let's rebuild for next season. That's why he's not on the hot seat, because now he actually has a chance to have an off season and do something next season with a team he can put together. The same thing as Quill last season. Granted, it's a completely different chapter book. Quill came in last season and showed up and showed out. But had the story been different, would you be saying the same thing? Why is Quill not on the hot seat? I don't think so.
Not with half a
I have a feeling,
no. But Cabrera's been there the entire season.
So
he hasn't been there the entire
well,
season.
No, it was May. So
yeah, so half a season.
Yeah.
Almost the same mirror with Quill. So once again, my question stands: had the roles been flipped, Would you be saying the same thing, or would you not?
If Quill had been on the same run that Cabrera had been on, then yeah, I think there is something to be said for, hey, is this the right coach? Because if you can't even get some sort of result out of a roster,
have you seen the team that is put together?
Yes,
I can tell you the AYSO 671 4-year-olds have a better team than they do.
Now, I did watch Amando Moreno play on Twitch the other night, so I know that he's entirely focused on the league season. So
that's my exact point. You have players who have given up on the season. They're playing fucking Yuma, for God's sake.
All right, so since Cabrera came in, El Paso has picked up 2 wins. Everything else was either a draw or a loss in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches, which is not not great, but yeah. Wilmer will not be there. No chance in hell. Quill is an up and coming manager. Wilmer is an old manager. Yeah, I mean Wilmer is he's not someone new to the USL.
Wilmer got handed dog water. I was expecting to make fucking tea out of it.
I also don't think Wilmer's all that good of a coach either. So
yeah, I don't think so either. Look what he did with RGV. Not much.
Well, RGV, that was a terrible situation. That really was a terrible situation for them. Harry, I think that's a valid question as well. And again, but you look at I wouldn't say he inherited dog water. Like, yes, their goalkeepers are garbage. Okay.
Nah, Jamali's good.
23 goals conceded in 14 appearances.
Nah, he's good. The defense is dog shit.
You got guys who are back, Eder Borelli, Dollenmeyer, Hines. There's guys that have been stalwarts over the past few years in the USL Championship. Yeah, that too. Eric Calvillo back. Yuma, I mean, Yuma should not be playing anywhere at any point, but so I mean, looking at this and to Josh's point, this means we should steamroll them next weekend, right?
Oh, we should.
Well, so let's open up. Do we bounce back? Do we play better against El Paso than we did against Legion?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Short answer, yes.
Okay.
I don't think there's a chance in hell that this team has the poor showing against Birmingham and then gets to go to El Paso, a team that has fucking 12 points through 19 matches. And they don't want to put on a show there. So now playing better and getting the win are two different things. I think we play a lot better. We play harder. We're going to be more crisp, I think. Now, we've seen it time and time again in matches where sometimes the better team doesn't win or doesn't get the result. So I'll guarantee a win, but sometimes weird shit happens. I'll just say it that way.
Granted, El Trasho had a COVID outbreak. Yeah, that was a thing. Shocker, Phoenix didn't play their academy to make it fair like they wanted against us. I don't. Yeah, El Paso can't say anything, or Phoenix can't say anything about it now. So, they had their loss to COVID. Robert, an incoming trap game. Any possibility of this, guys?
No.
I don't think so. I mean, if we played, and I'm probably going to steal your idea, if we played really, really well this past week, then maybe we can call it a trap game. But the fact that we had a slump that we needed to humble ourselves, and now we get to go play scraping the bottom of the barrel El Paso, I don't think it's a trap game. I think we correct what we did wrong over over the few days that we have before we travel to El Paso, and then I think we go into El Paso and we do something that I don't want to say because we'll probably get canceled for it, but we obliterate them. I'll use that word.
All right,
Yeah,
so
I think-
Earl, before you go quickly, Jacob, Earl, you are aware that our good friend Jerry is probably alive and well somewhere.
He's been fucking quiet. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
He's been quiet for like 3 years.
He's been extremely quiet this year. So if we fail to obliterate them, does Jerry come out of the woodwork?
Please fucking do. Please do. I swear to God, I beg you.
I don't
If we
think he
don't
does.
obliterate you, please make me a fucking reel on Facebook. I
don't think
beg
he does.
you.
I
I don't
don't-
think he does either.
There's no way he does because we can just show him the standings that you just had up, and that would shut him up.
I was really hope so. Jacob, what are your thoughts on Saturday?
No, there's no way it's a trap game with it being El Paso. If it was like bottom of the league, Vegas on the road, I could see it being a trap game. If it was bottom of the league, Oakland or Monterey Bay, I could see it being a trap game. But because it's a rival, because we're coming off of a poorer show, one of our poorer showings, especially at home, I don't. I wouldn't call it a trap game whatsoever. I think we come out guns a-blazing and try to take it to them pretty good.
All right. Anybody that we should be watching for this weekend?
The refs.
I mean, I could say Moreno because, former team. He scored on us. He's their leading goal scorer with 5, I think. But I don't know. What's going to happen? What's going to have to happen for them to win this game is Jamali Wade's going to have to stand on his head, and somebody up top, whether it's Moreno or Moshibani or Rivas or Dylan, is going to have to do something. Rivas is probably the one that I'm more concerned about. I don't know. He just seems to be a United killer at times. Dylan's always played us pretty tough, but it's just going to be, they're going to have to do something up there. And actually what it's really coming down to, which is we talked about it. Oh, what did we talk about it for? It wasn't Birmingham last week with Christina. I think it was a couple weeks ago. It's the midfield. This midfield for El Paso is just a disaster. They might be a little bit better now because I think they had a couple suspensions and some injuries, but that midfield's going to have to do something to stop ours, and I just don't think they can.
It's worth noting that we will be without Zico Bailey this weekend due to yellow card accumulation. He is now at 8 yellow cards on the season. So Zico will be suspended for Saturday's match. So that's worth paying attention to. I do want to double check to see where Alex is at in his yellow cards.
As going into last week, Zico was the only one that was 1 card away.
Mhm.
With Tambakis is now he might be up there. I'm not sure.
He's still not. He's not at 8 at least. So
No, I knew he wasn't going to be at 8. He might be at 7.
yeah, we'll look that up.
I usually just wait for the news and notes report to come out, and it's usually in there.
Yeah, I wish the league would do a disciplinary report again. Nick
They
Murray.
do. It's attached to the news and notes. That's how I knew Zico was going to be suspended.
Yeah. But no,
I don't know-
I wish the
I don't know what you
disciplinary
guys are
report they
talking
used to do.
I don't know
You
if
know,
you about
they
this
do the
news and
separate
notes report.
It's there. It's just at the bottom of the news and notes.
Yes. So according to USL, Alex only has 3 yellow cards.
That doesn't surprise me.
I thought it was higher than that, but yeah. Oh well. So yeah, Zico will miss Saturday. That's it. Chris Gloucester, we don't have an update yet. Possibly he may miss Saturday. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept him out anyway, just to give him some time off that ankle.
We have depth
Yeah.
on the wings, and so he definitely Definitely, I would be shocked if he was on crutches after the match on Saturday.
Earl, I know you were concerned about Abu Danladi on Saturday, who was on the injury report once again. Talked to David Weesey Carl, who said that David found out at the same time we did. So Abu was a late scratch, it seems, for Saturday's match against Birmingham. We don't know his status for this coming Saturday. So we'll just have to wait and see. Score predictions.
I'll let you go, Jacob.
Do y'all remember the score prediction that I made 1,000 times last year?
You fucking asshole.
It's just 4. Just 4.
No.
Oh.
I desperately want a thumping of some kind at some point this year. I think angry New Mexico United going against the worst team in the league is probably one of the better chances for that to happen. So 4-0.
4-0. There you go. Perfect.
And if I'm wrong, Jerry, please, like Earl said, please do the clown music.
Okay. Earl.
Okay, first off, I'm going to help Jerry out in case I am wrong. Jerry, screenshot this picture right here. Insert clown nose if you want. And the paint and all the bullshit that you have going on. Anyways, I don't think we have a clean sheet. For whatever reason, I think we give one up. It's going to be something silly, whether it's a atrocious penalty or something dumb's going to happen. I do think we get the thumping. I'm going to match Jacob with 4, but 4-1.
Okay.
And once again, if I'm wrong, here you go, Jerry.
Quickly, Christina, no, it does not reset. The accumulation does still continue. Let me double check what it says here real quick.
I want to say it's like 12 or 11.
I want to say 12 is the next one. I'll double check. So the USL is not great about putting out their media guides to where they're easily accessible. And I can't, this year's one is incredibly hard to search. I found it and forgot to bookmark it. But yeah, it's incredibly annoying to look through because there are minor changes from year to year. So according to the most recent media guide I can find, oh shoot. Darn you, Scribd. All right, here it is. 11 total cautions is a 2-game suspension and a fine. 14 total cautions is a 3-game suspension and a fine. So if he accumulates 3 more yellows, he'll face a 2-game suspension. He, however, can, with good behavior, get some of those yellow cards rescinded. Now, he has to go, it was 5 matches without a yellow card to have one rescinded. That's the good behavior incentive. And a player can have that applied 3 times during a season, and that's it. If a player has more than 14 cautions in a season, the league has the right to fine and suspend the player at their discretion. So, long way to go. Zico has a lot of yellows. Hopefully he can kind of avoid a few more here as we go. The other, okay. My score prediction. I don't think it's 4-0. I would love it to be though, but I'm going to say 3-1. 3-1 on the road, sweep the season against El Paso, come back home and drink in their tears. So, yeah, that's our predictions for this week. I mean, obviously none of us think much of El Paso and what they're doing currently. Guys, any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
I think my only closing thought is I know I was greatly missed and you guys said my name and I appeared. Next time do the clap though, then I show up just like Joe Hendry. If you don't know who that is, please go check it out. Just go type in Joe Hendry. I'm helping you out, Jacob. The other note is you guys will probably not see me for a little bit. No, I'm not stepping away. Jacob got excited. I know. I will be having a baby here in a few weeks. So I will be spending a lot of time and a lot of sleepless nights helping my fiance take care of a baby.
Did I
Jacob knows the feeling.
Did I miss any time when I had a baby? In fact, I think I podcasted from the hospital. But yeah, no, you do you.
So
You do you, boo boo. You do you.
So also with my
just
new
kidding.
job, I
I'm
don't know
just
my
kidding.
schedule.
I'm just
But
kidding.
yes,
Earl.
I will be taking some time to at least bond with my baby. But I'll be back. Don't you worry about that.
Good.
Yeah.
Seth, you got anything?
No.
No, good.
Get us out of here. No? Nothing?
No.
Okay. In that case, I'm not going to mention everybody in the chat because there was a lot of names in the chat. But everybody that was in the chat, you know who you are. And I appreciate you guys. If you haven't watched or listened to last week's episode with me and Christina, what is this?
Oh, thank you, Seth. Play it. You're on mute.
Oh, Earl, you didn't do it.
You're on mute, dude.
The video's on mute. You could have still clapped.
Yeah, but it goes with the song.
Was that
Seth
on
for the
mute?
copyrights.
Thank you guys. 10 seconds of my life that I will never get back. I mean, I could probably say that about every episode of this show, but yeah, if you haven't listened to last week's episode, we had a special guest on, Christina, over there in the YouTube chat. She joined me. We talked about the LAFC trip and whatnot. We will be back next week at 8:00 talking about the El Paso thumping. I'm putting it out there right now. And then I would like to know, I'd like to have you guys reach out to us if I'm willing to do the X, whatever they call it now, where we get the little blue check mark and we
Yes, that's
Or-
something. Yeah, I meant to bring that up earlier. I saw that it affected like USL show and some others.
can
Like,
go. Yeah. And so
that's
I'm
sick.
willing to do that if you fans out there think that we should. I wouldn't mind. I have noticed ticking our numbers the last two episodes after they did that shit, and so I will do it if you think we need to.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said. My internet glitched out.
The artist formerly known as Twitter made it to where you can't do live videos unless you have the little blue check mark.
Mhm.
We ran into that last week. I didn't realize it until we had already started. And with it being just me and Christina, I did not have the capability of going in and posting the YouTube link. So I apologize. I did get it out there today, though. And so we might continue to do that. We might do the blue check mark. Let us know what you guys think. But everybody over in the chat, thank you guys so much. We'll be back next week. Hopefully talking about 3 points. Earl, we love you. I'm very proud of you. You're gonna be a good dad. All joking aside, and so we definitely don't blame you. Even if I did pod from the hospital when my daughter was born, it is what it is.
See, to be honest, let's be honest here. That was actually my plan, was to do that. But given the fact that we have a scheduled delivery on the 9th, I can't really pod from the hospital.
You'll be there for a day or so.
2 days.
So yeah, you never know. Like you and that peace sign, it did it last time too. It only does it once. It's a one pump chump over there.
Story of my life.
Exactly. That's exactly why I made that joke, girl. Thank you. No, thank you guys. We'll be back next
It
week.
looks like that too. All the balloons.
Yeah. Damn it, Earl. I don't
Get
know
us the
if
fuck out of here.
Okay, I apologize. We'll be back next week. Somos Negros. Oh, now what?
Baby,
believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
What the fuck?
Love, London, and Paris. Joe